All right, magandang gabi po everyone and welcome to another episode of Alpha TV making you #significantly better. Ayan, so we are now starting in a couple of minutes, but before we jump in to our discussion proper for tonight's episode, wherein ako din po ang mga kasama nyo as your resource speaker. Ayan, I indulge everyone to share this particular learning session to your network, to your friends, colleagues, classmates. We have a lot of room to fill in dito sa ating Zoom, and we are also live sa ating YouTube channel at Asdex PH Academy. Ayan. So before we jump into the session proper, of course, we would like to thank our partners for making this learning session possible here at Alpha TV. We have iExcel Online CIE Review. Ayan, from iExcel CIE Review Center. So they have opened another batch for the April 2024 CIE examination. So you can visit iExcel CIE Review here at Facebook. We also have Blessed, and of course, Startup Podcast PH, our official podcast partner. And if you haven't created your account yet sa ating Tuos, the first Filipino cloud-based analytics platform, you still have your chance to get your 90-day trial offer up until the end of the year, because starting January, yung mga mag-create ng account or yung mag-avail will be not free anymore. Meron na siyang minimal fee. So hanggat meron pa tayong chance, take this opportunity to create and get your free 90-day trial of Tuos. All right, so of course, as mentioned, I'll be your moderator, at the same time your resource speaker for tonight on the topic top 10 skills of the future and how to build them. Again, this is Felix Concepcion Veroya, founder and CEO of Aslex Speech Academy, and I'll be your moderator slash mentor for this session. So let me just shift to the PowerPoint that I'll be using. Ayan. So again, we have 12 attendees here at Zoom right now. So kung meron pa po kayong gustong invite ng mga classmates, friends, and people in your network, this is the best time to do so. Again, welcome to another session of Alpha TV, and I'll be discussing about the top 10 skills of the future and how to build them with the subtitle Lifelong Learning for the 21st Century Workplace. So this is actually part of our pre-event for the upcoming Sulong, the second Philippine Lifelong Learning Conference. So Sulong stands for Sustainable Lifelong Learning onto the next generations. And so later on, we will be inviting you to attend that. But before that, of course, let me try to introduce myself a little bit for those who are not quite familiar with me. So I'm the founder and CEO of Aztec Speech Academy. I'm an industrial engineer by degree and by practice. I'm a professional industrial engineer. I finished my master's in engineering program major in IE, or with specialization in IE. I'm an associate ASEAN engineer, a certified lean practitioner, a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt. I've completed my executive master's in business administration at Quantic School of Technology and Business at Washington, D.C., pero online naman yon. So, and I've been awarded with an honorary doctorate degree, Doctor of Humanities. I'm a certified sprint master, and I'm doing my PhD now from at Mapua. So PhD in industrial engineering. So I'm already a PhD candidate. So I'm doing my dissertation currently. So, and I'm involved with many other organizations like the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineer as an elected board director, and as an elected board of trustee for the Philippine Society for Quality Foundation. So yun po yung mga pinagkakaabalahan natin, no? So, ayan. So I have a game here, Yan. So medyo mataas yung probability that you'll be winning. Pero sabi kasi sa akin ni nung aming Chief Finance Officer ni Ma'am Kathy, so that I ratio in proportion the number of slots or seats, virtual seats that I'll be giving away based on the attendance. So siguro in this particular case, I'll be giving away about 3 lang muna, no? Kasi we're only 15 here in the room, no? So what you need to do is to of course, take a photo first of you participating or watching this particular Alpha TV episode. Share that photo, tag our page. So first, like our page and then tag our page in your post and use the hashtag significantly better with sulong, yung nabanggit natin kanina. So we will be choosing 5 winners. So dapat 5 pero 3 na lang muna. 3 winners of virtual passes to Sulong. So Sulong will be a hybrid conference. There's going to be like 100 to 120 face-to-face participants that we could accommodate, and the rest could participate via virtual attendance via Zoom, no? And what's good about having free virtual passes, you'll have a chance to win one of the 7,000 pesos na ipamimigay during this particular event. So if you want to join that particular opportunity, then you have a chance by winning virtual passes for free just by, doing what is listed here. But if for example, hindi kayo sinuwerte with that opportunity, then you can purchase your virtual passes. For professionals, that's going to be 990, and for students, that's going to be 490. That's automatically including 2 free certifications, the Data Science Fundamentals and the Continuous Improvement Fundamental certifications. So there's a lot that you can get from participating. Okay. All right. So as mentioned, this is like pretty much my journey, how it passed for the 12 years that I'm practicing as a professional. So I could say that I've been in the cycle of trying to learn new things, trying to unlearn things, trying to relearn things, trying to upskill. So my journey is quite a manifestation really of what we call rather lifelong learning. So kung makita nyo, I've been into many different functions. I've been jumping from one organization to another every 3 years, and then eventually I landed to managing this particular small business that we're running, yung Aztec Speech Academy, and then lahat ng yan is merong component of what we call lifelong learning, or developing the skills that are relevant to the current workplace. Now, so I'll be talking for the next probably 45 to 60 minutes. I'll give you a defined picture of what is lifelong learning, and then I'll share with you what is the basis, what is one of the basis of how we develop courses, and eventually this free learning opportunities that we're offering, saan namin to ibinibase. So that's going to be from the World Economic Forum report, of course, on top of what are the mandates of the UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning, and of course the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And then of course I'll be talking about the top 10 skills of the future, and of how to build this. So I'll be discussing the 10 skills, and then on the particular discussion of each skill, I'll be sharing with you some best practices or best points that you would want to consider if you really want to develop them. And then I'll share with you what is called the ABC model of lifelong learning, and we'll go ahead to my personal reflections of what has been discussed for tonight. So if you can see, there's a photo of a book. It's a book cover. Since I'm actually an internationally published author, I have published through Denmark-based publisher about 3 books with them. And the most recent one is itong top skills of the future and how to build them. So everything that you will see here is basically an excerpt or part of that particular ebook. So if you want to purchase the entire ebook, it's around 500 in pesos ata, about $9. So parang roughly around that. So you can actually visit bookboon.com and try to purchase it. But again, this is an excerpt, like a snapshot of what is included in that particular ebook. No? All right, so let's get going. So let me throw this question overhead. Question is, do you think what you know right now is enough for you to thrive and survive in the coming years or in the next couple of years? Okay, I want you to pause if you're here as a student or if you're here as a professional or a business owner. I want you to pause for the next 30 seconds or 1 minute and reflect. Try to envive what is the answer to this question that we have on the screen. All right. So I know probably what you have in your head right now is typically like the common answer that I guess I need to learn more, or probably I need to like understand what are the needs of the current uh job market or the workplace itself, so that I can answer this question completely. And you are correct if that is what you are thinking right now. So we have a lot of room to grow as professionals, specifically in this times that the landscape is really changing quite fast or very fast, no, significantly fast. So kaya kailangan we have to always update ourselves with the new skills that are required, or if not new skills, probably like I would say immortal skills that will always be needed or required regardless kung mag-shift man yung landscape ng trabaho natin or ng marketplace, job marketplace. Okay? Now, as mentioned, I'll be sharing something about or from the World Economic Forum. So this is an organization that publishes this kind of reports. And this is from the report called Future of Jobs. Okay. So sabi dito, it states here that the reskilling needs is about 44% of workers' core skills are expected to change in the next 5 years. So meaning, well, again, this is from World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report 2023. So every year, basically, they publish like a 5-year running forecast of what will be the outlook in terms of the need for like relevant skills. No, it's combination of technical, digital, technological, so something like that. No, essential skills and all that. So pwede kayo mag-follow sa mga accounts nila so that you know the updates on this particular outlook. So let me just read some of the highlights of this report. So the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs 2023 report finds analytical thinking, creative thinking, and AI or artificial intelligence and big data will be top in demand skills by 2027. So that's basically how many years from now? So 2024, 2025, 26, and 27. So as I mentioned, 5-year rolling forecast. So ito yung mga kailangan yung abangan. Okay. Now, it also says here in this particular report that leadership and social influence and curiosity and lifelong learning are among other skills expected to see growing demand. So leadership has been always there. Hindi naman siya nawawala, right? Social influence, I would say more of social influence, influence over power. If you could if you are hearing those kind of like semantics and all that. Networking probably is also one common word that we could actually align with this, social influence. Curiosity, of course, if there are new things that are happening, we need to be curious so that we would be given the access and or opportunity to like explore this new or emerging trends in terms of learning and technology and all that. And I'm actually surprised when I read this kasi lifelong learning is outlined as one of the 4 among other skills, sabi diyan. Pero siya yung isa sa mga naka-outline that will be expected to be growing. So meaning lifelong learning is not just like a mindset based on this report. It's actually a skill set. Okay? That's why we want to focus on lifelong learning. Okay? Now, the third bullet in this particular report, or one of the highlights from this report, 6 in 10 workers, or about 60%, will require training before 2027. But only half of workers are seen to have access to adequate training opportunities according to the report. So meaning, there will be people who will be interested, but there will be also limitations in terms of access to adequate, or I would say, efficient kind of training. So that's why what we do here at Aslek Speech Academy is we support these mandates. Kaya po kung makikita nyo yung mga e-learning courses, if you go to the courses tab, when you create your account in Alpha Digital, dun sa Aslek Speech Academy natin na learning management system, all courses there are heavily aligned to what is being published by the World Economic Forum. And you can actually take it for free. Of course, there are other sources that you can go later on. I'll also share, but you can take this for free. Some of the resources on top of what we are offering here at Aslex. But also there are premium programs that you could take. Of course, if this is something that's critical and essential in the next 5 years, and if you want to stay relevant, you would want to also invest some of your resources taking this particular correct courses that will develop your skill sets. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing like I'm not really sure if this is a good indicator, but I think my microphone level is a little bit low. It says here in my console. Can someone confirm if the level of voice is good or not? Can you type in the chat box, please? Before I continue. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your, all right. Thank you for your responses. I really appreciate this. All right, moving forward. So that is what is stated in this particular report. Now, this is now the list. Okay. So you can see on the lower portion of it, or second to the last row, there's the type of scale. So depending on the color, it is basically represented by, so this some sort of blue green. So I'm not really good in secondary and tertiary color, so I see this as all blue. Sorry. So cognitive skills, self-efficacy, management skills, technology skills, working with others, and engagement skills. So if you see here, so the top 10 skills that is on the rise based on this report is really combination of several types of skills. So meron tayong, so we have here creative thinking, we have analytical thinking, we have technological literacy, curiosity and lifelong learning, resilience, flexibility and agility. We have systems thinking, AI and big data is also there as mentioned, motivation and self-awareness, talent management, and service orientation and customer service. So these are the 10 skills that we will be expecting in the next 5 years. If you look back on the 2022 report, 2021 report, 2020 report, hindi siya ganon. No, this is I would say not super completely different, but the only thing that I can remember that is existing across those 3-4 year run of reports, creative thinking, analytical thinking, and then probably curiosity and lifelong learning, something like that. No, but the rest are all new. I don't know if these are new terms from the old ones that has been that evolved, but from my personal perspective, it's something that's a little bit different. So, ibig sabihin talagang nagbabago siya, no? All right. Now, what's the key for us to survive? So, we will not be extinct like dinosaurs in terms of this particular playing field, no? One thing is really to become a lifelong learner. I don't have to say it anymore because it's really in the World Economic Forum report, right? Now, what is lifelong learning? Lifelong learning, as defined, is a form of self-initiated education that is focused on personal development. So if you're here, if you see that you consider yourself as a lifelong learner, then that's good. And if you've considered yourself as someone who's taking lifelong learning or a lifelong learner, it only means that you're doing this for a reason. I don't know the reason, but I would want to believe that at the grassroots of all of those modified reasons or personalized reasons is personal development. Okay? So that's basically the real objective. Now, why is lifelong learning again important? So these are some points that I would want to highlight. It helps us achieve personal fulfillment and satisfaction, just like what has been provided in the definition in the previous slide. It recognizes the human's nature drive to explore. Let's say explore new things. You've heard of something from a conference, you try to learn it. So exploration, learn, and growth. Okay? It also encourages us to improve our quality of life and sense of self-worth. So, um, just like what I've recently read from LinkedIn, so the more you learn, the more you earn. But not exactly just money itself, but the other components that could potentially improve and grow as you try to consume more and more lessons learned from different sources. And it pays attention to the ideas and goals that inspires us. As mentioned, there could be a lot of personalized objectives and goals, but at the grassroots of each of these, goals and aspirations is basically our personal development. So this is why it is important for us, okay, to learn lifelong learning as a skill set. Diba? It's not just a mindset, it's a skill set. Okay. Now, following that, well, I'll not discuss the World Economic Forum, everything aligned to that. So not really, because we have other sources as well. I just want you to picture out that there are a lot of sources that we could align how we plan our individual development. Okay. So I'm actually teaching also a course called Understanding Personal Strengths for Accelerated Individual and Organizational Success, or in short, UPS for Success. And one thing that I teach my mentees is the use of what we call individual development plan. So nowadays, you have to really own your personal development, your professional development. So the only way that you could be more objective in that note, in that area, is for you to really assess what needs to be improved based on what you already have or what you don't have. And having an individual development plan will help you do that. So if you're quite interested, you can actually send me a message, a personal message at my LinkedIn account or my Facebook account, and I'll try to walk you through. I'll try to invite you in one of my free master classes related to that. But going back to this, so as mentioned, I have like a book that has been published recently, and it's called The Top 10 Skills of the Future. And in that particular book, I have provided, based not only in the World Economic Forum but other internationally published references, 10 skills that you might want to consider building for yourself. And the list includes communication, collaboration, complex problem solving, adaptability, leadership, creativity, digital literacy, critical thinking, project management, and change management. If you're here, you've been into our Alpha Leadership Acceleration Bootcamp, you may be familiar with what is provided here. Some of them are already included in that free leadership program that we're providing every year, which will basically end tomorrow with the module project management, and the graduation will happen in the second Philippine Lifelong Learning Conference on December 2. So let's have a deep dive on each of the skills and try to understand what is the nature of this skill and how can we develop these skills. Starting off with communication. So communication is, as mentioned here, an indispensable skill. If you're technically inclined but you cannot communicate what you have in mind, then basically that idea will go to waste. definitely that's gonna go to waste. Take it from me who've been I don't want to use the term victim, but let me use it for now. I've been a victim of that particular poor mindset that I'm quite afraid to communicate because I'm afraid that people might judge my idea. Okay, so I just keep it in myself, within me. Okay, but that's actually not, it's not a good practice. Okay, so it says here the capacity to communicate thoughts plainly and actually effectively pay attention to other people and adjust correspondence styles to various crowds is key in cultivating joint effort and accomplishing fruitful results. So whenever one person is like good in terms of communication, we see that person as someone as intelligent. Do you agree? Diba? For example, may magaling mag-English or magaling mag-communicate. We typically perceive yung person na to be intelligent. Diba? So that's basically how communication position us in terms of like for example in a crowd. Okay. So and these are some of the things that you might want to consider when you want to develop your communication skill. So first is establish open lines of communication. So when you say open lines of communication, so for example, you're in a crowd, so regardless if you're an introvert or extrovert, so you need to really understand that you need to communicate whenever you are put into a crowd kasi that's part of what we call networking, no? So that's basically you're opening your lines of communication so that you can meet new people and then you can exchange ideas, etc., etc. Okay. So, for example, you are in like an event, you have to facilitate honest and open communication. This also works when you're like in a networking activity or like a simple event, meron lang kayong like you have like a company event or a school event that you need to talk to someone that you don't know for the purpose of, yun nga, expanding your network, or maybe you are a leader, you want to talk and check in with your members, or you're a student leader, you want to talk to your um co-officers. So it should be an honest and open communication. So when you say open, so it has been mentioned twice already, meaning you don't dominate the communication. So you have to give opportunity for the other party to tell or express his or her ideas. So and that comes with what we call active listening. The common pitfall is that when we talk about communication, akala natin it's only us telling something or communicating or expressing something to the other end of the communication channel. But actually listening alone is considered to be also communication. Of course, there's going to be some sort of little feedback and all that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that yung mali kasi natin is we want to listen because we want to give feedback kaagad. Yung parang when someone ended like a sentence, you might want to always give also your thoughts about it. It's not always the case. Sometimes communication could be in a sense that you just have to listen and listen and listen, and if someone, and for example the person on the other end of the communication channel wants your feedback, then you can actually provide your feedback. So listening is one form of a powerful communication tool. Use language that is concise and clear. This basically applies to verbal, non-verbal, so written like emails or even chats. Yan. Because sometimes if you are remotely located, or kunwari through remote channels, so hindi kayo nakakakita, you don't see the emotion of the other person. Sometimes plain words could be deceiving. So we have to be very concise and clear with the messaging. And that also comes along with what we call assumptions. Diba, kunwari, when you chat someone, or maybe you have to text someone, and then nakulangan lang ng punctuation mark or nagkamali ng punctuation mark and something like that. So sometimes we assume na, ay, parang galit siya. Or maybe it's or is he or she annoyed kasi ganito, ganyan, ganyan. So there are like so many assumptions that we're putting in our head that aggravate things na hindi naman talaga komplikado. So don't make assumptions when we're in this particular communication thing, no? Relevant, for example, with like say for example, project management or operations management. So yung sending out of regular updates is needed. I've read the book. It is thought there, over communication. So sabi doon, communicate, communicate, and communicate. So meaning, you have to make people understand and be onboarded of what's happening, and that's through what we call communication. Either it be a project or your regular operations. So and again, make use of visual aids. Yes. So for example, you're facilitating like a problem solving. So still you're communicating as a facilitator. So use of visual aids, or for example, how would you communicate your instruction to a set of like team members in your company. So kunwari gagawa ka ng mga work instruction, that's still part of communication. What else? Use a variety of means of communication. So as mentioned, may tinatawag tayong verbal or oral, meron tayong written, meron tayong non-verbal. So ito yung mga hand signals and gestures. So when you're talking to someone, be very careful of the non-verbal signals that we're sending. Sometimes we're not quite aware that we're sending this kind of signals. Parang we're saying something but it's not aligned to what or how we behave, or how our nonverbal signals behave. So yeah. And of course, as mentioned, you need to obtain feedback. Okay. So you always you always look out for feedback. Okay. Last, from this short sharing for communication, empathy. So empathy is putting your shoes or putting yourself in the position of others so that you can better understand where they are coming from. Because sometimes there are instances na as mentioned, you make assumptions and then you really wanted to provide feedback, but the feedback is out of timing. No, you haven't understood yet where what is the like the context of this particular communication. So that's why you need to be concise and clear. You need to understand context, and that's basically developing empathy. Okay. Through time, I've learned, for example, meron akong gustong sabihin, I want to say something, before I'm too rash on saying things, but as you know, as you grow older, you'll find wisdom in taking a pause before saying something, or before doing something, and try to understand where this person, the one that you're talking to, communicating to, is coming from. So that's actually one of maybe the best practice that I could share, under communication. So that's number one, communication. Okay. Second one is collaboration. Well, basically, communication and collaboration works hand in hand. So you can collaborate if you cannot communicate. Diba? You cannot communicate. I mean, communication is nothing if you will not use it for collaboration, something like that. Okay. So in today's interconnected world, it is essential to coexist harmoniously with coworkers, for those people who are here that is working already, and of course for those students, you still need to collaborate, like in your projects, your theses, your feasibility studies, your case studies, right? So, and this collaboration is with various disciplines, cultures, and backgrounds, especially kapag nag-work na kayo, when the time comes that you're working already. So innovation, comprehension, and teamwork are all aided by collaboration. So collaboration has been like a very a very useful tool also in this modern workplace, no? And number one there is again communication. I don't need to elaborate on that because I've already provided you that they come hand in hand. Maybe one thing that I've also learned when it comes to collaboration, so that it becomes more effective and efficient, is for you to understand culture. So culture background, because I've been able to work with different cultures when I was with this multinational corporation, and I still experience that because of my engagement with our multinational clients. So the way people behave really is stemmed to their culture and backgrounds. So we need to understand that so that we could avoid doing things that could probably offend them in terms of creating a harmonious relationship and collaborative environment. Okay, so as we talk about collaboration, teamwork will always be mentioned, no? And when we talk about collaboration, because the landscape basically changed significantly because of what happened, pandemic, industry 4.0. So um teams are able now to collaborate globally, no? Dati through Cisco calls, now through Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx, and all that. So make use of technology for you to make collaboration effective. Okay. So, for example, in the context of multinational or global teams, say for example, you have like a global project that you would want to do. So like setting clear objectives and expectations. And when you say global, there's going to be again culture differences. So you have to encourage also inclusion. So culture, races, and diversity. Okay. So that talks a lot. No, there are a lot of organizations now, companies now that are investing into diversity and inclusion because it's already like some sort of a mandate for organizations and corporations. And of course, when you collaborate, you're performing uh you're performing with a team and with members. So you have to value what other people would have to say on your performance and of course with the performance of the people who are in the team. And when you're collaborating, it's also an opportunity for you to grow. You have different backgrounds, you have different cultures, then it's a good opportunity for you to learn from this and put that into your individual development plans. No, so learn through diversity. Yeah. Work-life balance, of course, it's there. It's hard to achieve, but definitely it is always be a mandate. It will always be a mandate for collaboration to be effective because people will not collaborate and cooperate if they're too exhausted with just work. That's why may mga team buildings and all that. And set a good example. So I can still remember when I was younger, I thought being a solo player, I would call it a solo player, is actually good. But when I started working, I realized that I can accomplish nothing if I don't collaborate with other people. So probably my one line key takeaway here is you have to learn to collaborate if you want to produce more value for yourself and for the organization that you are working for. So that's basically the second one. Okay. The third one talks about complex problem solving. So complex problem solving stems on our ability to analyze complicated situations and of course provide with alternative solutions or set of solutions and of course come up with informed decisions that is based on the use of structured approaches. I will always go back to the keyword structured approaches. So this basically involves, of course, clearly and accurately defining the problem. Just like what Charles Kettering mentioned in one of his accounts, a problem well defined is always a problem half solved. And of course, we need to understand where the problem is coming from. That is where we need to break down the problem into pieces or probably look into the details, but without forgetting the bigger picture. Okay. And that, of course, will flow through what the next step is identifying what we call the root causes of the problem, what really triggers the occurrence of this problem. And as mentioned, when once we have this list of valid root causes, now we can put multiple solutions. We need alternative solutions in the context that maybe the solutions that we have, let's say solution A, might not be feasible because of budget constraints. So it's important for us to have like solutions B or C so that we could try to put that on our list if that is something that's more feasible and doable at the current time. And of course, when you do complex problem solving, as mentioned, it's going to be a team approach, just like collaboration. Collaboration will still be applicable here, by the way. So we need to involve diverse group of people, use a structured problem solving approach. If you're into PDCA, that's fine. If you're through Lean Six Sigma DMAIC, that's fine. If you're through Kepner-Trego, that's fine. If you're into 8 steps of problem solving, that's fine. So regardless of whatever approach that may be, for as long as there is a structure, it's good. Okay. And of course, when you have this chosen solutions, then you have to test and validate. Make sure that these are validated effectively without possible gray areas that would lead you to like facing risk that would compromise the entire process or the business, no? So kailangan maayos yung pagkaka-evaluate. May tamang data, you have the right data, you have used the right evaluation tools. So yun yung key dito, no? And of course, maintain an open mind, as mentioned in the previous skills as well, and adapt your approach based on the need. We have different approaches. I mentioned for as long as it's structured, you're fine. But there are certain instances that you might want to consider a more appropriate approach because it will yield a more favorable set of results. No. So for example, you cannot use DMAIC when the need for the approach is design thinking or design sprint, or the other way around. Okay, so you have to understand that. Again, feedback and support, what went well, what went wrong. So you have to collect that so that for the next type of initiative or next kind of initiative that you're doing, you know what to avoid, what to maintain. Okay, and of course, capture always your lessons learned. Okay, so maybe the one liner for this particular skill set is try to apply a structured approach and be data driven in coming up with the next steps for your problem solving initiative. Okay, so that goes for complex problem solving. Okay, if you have questions, let's reserve it for later. I'll be finishing this because I'm bounded by time. I apologize for that, but I hope you're quite learning at least few things from this talk. Okay. So next would be adaptability. So adaptability to thrive in a fast-changing world. So adaptability, agility. So it's like synonymous words that always pops out when we talk about skills, relevant skills of the new normal or the next normal. So being adaptable is essential in a dynamic environment. Individuals can navigate shifting landscapes and thrive in dynamic workplaces by embracing change, remaining adaptable, and actively learning new skills. And some of which is, of course, you can only adapt if you accept change. And change management has been, well, a very useful skill as well for all kinds of professional because you'll be facing change from time to time. So you need to understand how to facilitate and navigate through change. So being curious also means being adaptable. So for example, you've heard the term artificial intelligence. So some of you here might be jumping into like reading researches or finding like a podcast that discusses that because you're quite curious. You want to adopt this new skill and you want to learn how you could use this to your advantage as a professional. And that's fine. That's part of being adaptable. So demonstrate adaptability, meaning, for example, if other people are quite afraid to use, let's say, Chat GPT at first, but you've seen, oh, wow, I think this is something that I could do in like creating the initial draft of my work instructions for my work, something like that. So that's you demonstrating adaptability. The ability to adapt to whatever new technology or changes in the landscape or maybe an innovation in that particular space that you're related into. Again, obtaining feedback. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna ask feedback from yourself or whatsoever. Well, obtaining feedback could also be seen or perceived as like gathering or benchmarking. How does parang how does it went with people who use this first, and how can I tweak from what they've learned by far? So building your resilience, like for example, what happened during the pandemic, and because of what's happening, the emerging of new technologies. So your resilience may be in the form that probably you see yourself being outdated, so you might want to again accept the change that is happening and be resilient in a way that you'll be standing again from a failure brought by changes that's happening around you. So that's being resilient. Well, Filipinos are being are known to be resilient, meaning we're not easily giving up uh vis-a-vis the challenges that we're experiencing. So take action. Of course, if you want to adapt, you have to take action. It will, it's not just, lip service, as they call it. You have to take action. You have to embrace variety, changes. First, you have to keep an open mind, learn from your mistakes. Adaptability doesn't equate to success. You will always have this like high and lows, and it's part of it. So for example, when like an unknown thing happened or an unknown thing has been introduced, so you have to like be curious, try to navigate through that, adapt with it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be always like 100% success rate. There will always be like some percentage for failure, but because you want to be adaptable, you should build resilience. Okay, and you have to take that opportunity for you to learn. Okay, not to sulk and say that you don't have now the ability to to stand and to move forward. And what matters is, when you talk about adaptability in the sense, is maintain your drive. Okay, what motivates you to do what you do every day? Okay, so that's what is meant by adaptability. So I guess adaptability is a matter of being agile. Okay, if there are changes, then we need to adapt. Adaptation is not required if you don't want to be relevant. It's not required. But if you want to stay relevant and up to date, if you want to if you still want to serve like a relevant purpose in this landscape, okay, you need it. So it's really up to you if you want to be to adapt or to be like adaptable or not. Okay, so that's adaptability. Next would be leadership. So leadership is pretty much common. I mean, this is what we're trying to teach in ALAB, or in our Alpha Leadership Acceleration Bootcamp. It's as stated here, it's not limited to positions in hierarchy. Okay, so when if you're here as a student, you have like a group project, and you acted as a leader, then you're a leader. Okay, you don't have to be voted as a leader. You don't have to be elected as a leader. Okay, and that's for the government, right? If you are working, you have like people that you manage. Sometimes you're not really a leader, you're just a manager. So leader or leadership is regardless of any formal position. Okay, so developing leadership skills give individuals the ability to inspire and motivate others, encourage collaboration, and drive positive change. Okay, so being an effective leader requires mindfulness, that you have like a responsibility to the people that you are leading. Communication is power, because no effective leader, I I haven't known like an effective leader that has a poor communication. That's why if you want to be an effective leader, this is one requirement, like a prerequisite skill. No? Building relationships is one. Again, we're not talking about a manager. We're talking about a leader. If you go back to the definition, ability to inspire and motivate others, encourage collaboration. So building relationships, meaningful relationships with your people is like the way to go if you want to be an effective leader. Accept diversity. For my personal case, I would encourage, I don't want people that are yes people, those people that would say yes to you because you're the leader. I want people who would like to challenge and discuss in a healthy manner. ideas. No, develop empathy. I will not dwell on that anymore. We've discussed that. Clear objectives as well. Set a good example, of course, as a leader. This probably like a basic one. You need to be a good example. Inspire personal development. That's why I always ask people in my team. It's part of our KPI to put something that like in our individual targets, in development plans, that we need to complete one course, at least one course a year in every year. Okay. Always keep learning. When you stop learning, you stop growing. Diba? And make decisions with confidence. What is meant by that? I I of course want to remind leaders, okay? I mean you guys that would want to build the leadership skill among themselves, that as an effective leader you have to be very fluent in the use of data. Okay? So data makes your decision making more like more objective, and you have confidence. Okay? So also when you say confidence, you have to be accountable with the results of what you have decided upon. And that's something that leaders always do. So I guess key takeaway here is that leaders, they are not just leadership. I mean, leadership as a skill, it's not related to any title. It's really a matter of how you practice your leadership skills. Okay, you can be a leader even among your co-employee of the same ranks. Okay? Don't get it in the wrong context, kasi in the Filipino context they will say na pabibo, pabiba, pabida, ganyan. So it's not the way it is. I've experienced and I was able to manage that kind of leadership, okay, without being bossy, kasi I'm not the boss. Okay? So it's something that you need to practice. Like influencing people, like motivating people, encouraging people without even the authority. And that's the real, I would say, real meaning of leadership. Okay? So that's leadership. Next would be creativity. Okay? So thinking differently. So creativity is really important because, you know, regardless whether in the old times, whether industry 3.0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, industry 4.0, where are we now? No, creativity is always the catalyst for innovation. Thinking differently breeds innovative solution. And if you want to be effective, for example, if you need to create solutions, think of solutions for when you're using complex problem solving, creativity will always be tied up to that. Okay? So, as mentioned here, success is cultivated by cultivating the capacity to think outside the box. Or actually, right now, the paradox is thinking in such a way that there is no box at all. So explore unconventional solutions. When you say unconventional, untested before, and embrace diverse perspective. So I have another book. It's called Creative Solutions. Developing creativity tools, somewhere there. Creativity tools, developing creative solutions for problems and opportunities. So there are a lot of creativity tools that we could use actually. So probably for me to just walk you through, time is actually essential when we talk about creativity. You can't force your brain to think creatively if you haven't given your brain time to process and think. That's one thing that I've learned. And there are creative moments, eureka moments. I call that. I don't know if you're quite familiar with the eureka story in like in a science class that I've had way back on high school, when this scientist found something like a discovery. He shouted eureka, like so the eureka moment sometimes happens in the most unexpected places. Minsan, or at times when I'm taking a bath, you know, when I'm scrubbing my hair with shampoo, bigla na lang something will pop out about things that I can't really think about. Okay? Experimenting outside your comfort zone, like ako in that note, in my personal note, that is leaving my usual office. I mean, going somewhere like a coffee shop or maybe driving for a while. Walking actually is actually one way also. If you're like always sitting in your work and you need to think of something, you can actually try walking. I do that when I was still with this multinational corporation. I walk in the hallways. So just for me to be to be excused with this the typical setup. So that also constitutes pauses, breaks, no. Work with people, I love to ask people for opinions because that gives me new perspective, and that actually fuels the creative juice in my head. Keeping a journal, right now I'm using my notes, but there are like I mentioned about eureka moments. So whenever you're like, for example, you attended like a conference or you're attending like training like this. So I encourage people to bring out their pen and paper or maybe your phone or whatever you can actually put like new things that would come out in your head because you heard something that it's really interesting. So that's why I put it there. Keep a journal. Practice mindfulness, meditation, mindfulness really helps. Exercise, I'm guilty. I haven't done any intensive exercise, but walking, yan. Kahit yung simpleng paglalakad would constitute to this. Embrace disappointment. This is like failing fast. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you failed, you really failed. It's like if you tried 100 times, I don't know if it's who scientists said this, that if you have like failed in 100 ways, you just find 100 ways that this particular thing that doesn't work, something like that. So find new experiences to try, getting outside your comfort zone related to that, and always be curious. So for me, creativity, just like the moment when Francis J. Kong, one of the most, one of the highly paid speakers here in the Philippines, I had the chance to hand over the book that I mentioned earlier to him, and he asked me, what is meant by creativity. For me, the definition is really thinking differently, but for him, he said it's captivity. You copy what's working already and you try to figure out how you can better improve that particular solution or process or product or services. So that is creativity. Okay? So, konti na lang, no? Just give me like maybe 15 minute, 10 to 15 minute na ano na extension. So, of course, we're now in the digital age. Definitely, digital literacy will be a must. Okay. So, in the digital age of today, digital transformation, AI, and all that, having a solid foundation in the digital tools, data analysis, and information management is essential. So, data analytics, yan, no? So, yung mga emerging tools, especially yung mga AI tools na yan. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that you really have to use them, but you have to understand how these things work so that you'll not be left behind, no? It makes it possible for people to navigate in the digital landscape, make use of new technologies, and take advantage of the power of connectivity. So for example, you've heard about, hey, may chat GPT, hey, may mga ganito na AI-based tools and all that. Then you begin with the essentials. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng artificial intelligence? What is meant by artificial intelligence? How artificial intelligence works? Okay? So perform regularly, meaning from time to time, you also might want to explore how these technologies work. Because you don't know, maybe sometimes that will give you the opportunity for a better job probably or a better opportunity at work. So, di ba? So you have to explore, perform, make use of it. Stay up to date. Yan. Ako, I mean, I promised myself not to learn coding like Python, R. Though I know for the younger generation, I always tell them to learn this because hindi naman tayo sobrang tanda na. We're not really that old. I'm just 33. Pero parang I know the battles that I want to take. So parang coding na, I will not do it. But because I'm enrolled as a PhD student at Mapua, I am required to know and learn coding because it's part of my specialization in data analytics, specifically in education. So, kailangan. So, digital literacy came into the picture. So, create an attitude of growth, of course, because these things are not the typical ones. It's something that most of them are something new, really new to us, no? So we have to have that attitude, no, of growth. Learn about online security and safety. Of course, when we talk about digital literacy, kasama na po yan, no? We're talking about cyber security, we're talking about data privacy. If you're here, you want to have a good career in this new landscape, I would suggest you um training yourself, getting certifications, and then applying for jobs related to cybersecurity and data privacy. Yan. Very niche pa lang siya ngayon, but it's like data analytics, it's gonna go far. Okay? Look for sources of where you can learn about these digital technologies. We have a lot of sources. So work with other people. Ako, what I do kasi really is to find mentors eh. It's one way of me uh, integrating lifelong learning to my personal development. I always ask for people to mentor me or to be my mentor. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to pay for something. There are people who would love to mentor other people without getting any money from them. So, find that, Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, it's really important. That's why I'm telling you, it's important to have also networking, communication. Yan. What else? Participate in larger community. Yeah, for example, if you want to learn Python or R, if you want to learn Power BI or like Tableau, or you want to learn any other, like, for example, Minitab or whatever digital technology that may be, there are always groups, no? There are always communities of practice that you can join and learn from. Consider and evaluate digital literacy abilities. So I can still remember when I was asked during, very quick story, when I was asked 12 years ago of how proficient am I in the use of MS Excel, right straight from college. So I was asked by this HR, the scale is 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. I actually answered an 8, and then he pulled out like a laptop and like a data set and asked me to do a pivot table, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I just told him that moment, a very awkward scene in my career, that probably I misjudged myself. I think I have to give myself a 3 rather than an 8. So that's basically, trying to assess if you're really not being left behind with this digital literacy thing. And always look for opportunities to improve or apply probably the things that you've learned from this digital literacy context. Again, these are tools or data analytics or something that relates to information management, including cybersecurity and data privacy. It's really, an exciting field to learn more about. So yeah. Next would be, I guess this is the third to the last, if I'm not mistaken. Critical thinking, to be rational. Of course, in this age of misinformation, we need to be very critical. Okay. Information is abundant, but we have to be very critical what information we want to accept into our system and what needs to be filtered. Okay. Individuals can make informed decisions, determine credibility, and think critically in a variety of contexts when they can analyze, evaluate, and interpret complex data. So the data is like probably a news that you've consumed from a social media platform. That's data. It doesn't necessarily mean that data is always in numerical format. Okay? So what are the best practices when you want to be a critical thinker? So you diversify your perspective. As a critical thinker, it doesn't necessarily require you to always enforce what you believe is right. It has to be backed up with data and with the context and perspective of whatever topic is in the table. Okay? You have to engage in active listening. You don't rush into judgments, as mentioned earlier, without you understanding the context. You have to listen. Okay? You have to ask the right questions. That is what is meant by making inquiries. Ask and ask and ask. In problem solving, we have what is called why analysis. So what I want you to do is to practice asking the right questions. Take some time to think. This is creativity and critical thinking being intertwined here. Use proof to back up your claims. As mentioned by W. Edwards Deming, without data, you're just another man with an opinion. So if you don't want to be called an opinionated person, then you have to always bring your proofs, proofs of your claims or evidences. Think about a few possibilities. So, for example, personal reflection would be now, whatever team it may be, like at Asklex, in my previous organizations or companies that I was able to work as a manager or a technical expert, I always have this thought or this mindset to be the devil's advocate. I always run the what ifs. What if ganito? What if ganyan? So people would be aware of what we need to prepare for. Okay? So it's like what if analysis or sensitivity analysis. Make use of logic by practicing. Okay? So you'll only be logical and critical if you always put critical and logical thinking in practice, of course. Avoid being influenced by emotional appeals. It's hard at times to do this, but of course, when emotion gets in our way, we rush into decisions that we will regret definitely at the end of the day. So you might want to be very objective when it comes to being a critical thinker that needs to decide on a critical decision. Be willing to adapt. Okay. We've discussed this point from the first critical skill or from the first skills of the future. And again, continuous practice is key. So whenever you need to decide on something, you need to like evaluate options, then you have to be very, very critical. Again, when it comes to critical thinking, context is always king pa din, no? Context is always be king. Analyze, evaluate, and interpret, no? Using data, using previous informed decisions, using logic, using evidences. That is what is meant by being a critical thinker. And then, of course, from time to time, we're gonna be exposed to different changes and all that. So that's why the next two would be management skill set, but the second to the last is more of project management. Okay, so I always tell my mentees, in one point of your life, you'll be a project manager. Okay, definitely you'll be assigned one project at least. So effective project management is essential in an economy that is becoming increasingly project based. Yeah, very, very true. Managing resources and deadlines effectively while successfully planning, organizing, and carrying out project yields efficient results and adds value. That's why we always champion that professionals should learn about how to manage projects. And these are some things that you might want to consider when you are positioned in the project management role, even though it's not your primary role. Clearly define the scope and goals of the project. So you'll start, of course, with the problem statement, the objective statement, the scope. So it's really key. We've discussed this previously in complex problem solving. A problem well defined is always a problem half solved. So that's also true in project management. Number two, making a comprehensive project plan. This is one thing that I really hate to do, plans. But planning, there was the saying, I forgot who mentioned this, but if Benjamin Franklin, I don't know, I'm not really sure, but you can research. Planning to failing to plan is planning to fail. Definitely true. Okay? Because you can't just execute. There should be a plan that you need to follow. It doesn't necessarily mean that the plan will be 100% true or applicable, but at least you have something that you can follow. And being not 100, I mean, if executing, actualizing the plan, it's not always going to be 100% based on what has been planned, of course. Create a solid project team. This is actually a hard thing to do. You need to understand dynamics. You need to understand their strengths so that you can understand how to form the team and eventually manage the team. Number 4 talks about one of our skills of the future: communicate effectively. Project management also requires a lot of risk that the budget will go overboard, risk that people will not be able to deliver what is required, risk of that time will be compromised. So you need to learn how to manage those risks. Control and monitor project assets or the resources that are being used in the project. Control the project's quality. So in project management, there's like a triangle, like the triangle of project management. So it is composed of cost, time, and scope. So whenever there is an imbalance, or whenever one side of the triangle is being stretched, the two other components will definitely be affected. So that's the 3. And inside that is the quality of the project. So whenever you've planned for something, cost, time, and scope, and there has been a compromise, the quality of your project will always be affected. Manage changes. So there are, as mentioned, it's not 100% guaranteed that whatever you plan it's something that will be executed 100% true. So there's going to be changes and you have to deal with the changes. That's why we need to learn how to do change management alongside with project management. And then, of course, there's going to be reporting of your progress of the project. This is one thing I hate to do, especially when there are like drag timeline already. I try to keep it within myself when I was younger, but then again, I realized I cannot solve anything if I keep things like this from my immediate superior or from the stakeholders. So you need to report, you need to communicate to control the progress of your project. And of course, you need to deliver. You need to deliver whatever has been agreed upon for the project. So that's basically project management in a nutshell. I apologize, I cannot really expound to each of every skills. I'm just giving you an idea of what are the skills. And again, you have like time that you can take to learn more about these certain courses. There are free courses that you can take in our platform at Alpha Digital, by the way. And last but not the least, of course, is change management. For every cycle, there are going to be changes. Okay, so people who can navigate change and support others through it thrive is what is meant about an effective change management, because change is constant, and people who are proficient in change management can embrace innovation, adapt to new circumstances, and cultivate a culture of continuous improvement. And here are some ways on how we could make change management matter. So prepare for the change with a clear vision. That's why whenever there are changes in an organization, who do you think is the best person to communicate the change? Whenever there are changes in an organization, in a company, who will do that particular speech? The highest person or the highest function in the organization. That could be the general manager, that could be the president, the CEO, okay? Because that portrays that people, the top management, this people who are in authority really supports the changes that are about to happen or that is happening. And then again, if there are changes, then we need to communicate to all parties that are involved. You need to involve all levels of employee in the change. If you don't do that, then there will be resistance. If you are in a typical hierarchy that we have, like shop floor workers, engineers, analysts, middle managers, directors, and all that. So there should be a clear vision of, again, communicated and uh through from the highest the uh to the smallest unit of the organization. That's the only way that you could get buy-in and reduce resistance to change. Okay. So what else? So set the tone of culture of constant improvement. That's why you're doing the changes. So make decisions based on data and analytics. I attended during the PIIE at 25, where Miss Eileen Zhao, the country director for IBM, mentioned about don't just use the tools. Let's say, for example, the AI, the digital transformation tools. If you don't understand why is there a need for you to do so. Okay. So that's why you need to have like decisions that are based on data. Okay. Control resistance to change. Explain to them. If there's a resistance, it's typical. But if the resistance is too high, probably you haven't done the previous points that we were able to discuss here. Be adaptable and flexible. Keep the focus and the change on the customer. Recognize accomplishments and progress. There's a model called the ADKAR model. You might want to search for that. ADKAR, ADKAR model in change management. It talks of really good stuff about change management in a structured approach. And continuously evaluate and monitor change. Okay, so not only successfully delivering and implementing the change, it should always be something that is evaluated in such a way that you have to assess whether the implementation has been successful or not. Okay, implementing doesn't equate to successful implementation. Okay, remember that you have to get the feedback. It has been what do you call this? It has been mentioned several times across the 10 skills of the future. Obtain feedback, because it's really how should systems work. There should be a feedback mechanism. So probably my takeaway here that I would want to share is that we have to navigate through change. Resistance to change will make us, again, irrelevant. So we really have to be adaptable and learn how to manage the change that are happening, or the changes that are happening around us. So again, these are the 10 skills: communication, collaboration, complex problem solving, adaptability, creativity, digital literacy, critical thinking, project management, and change management. Now, how do you build these top 10 skills? Now, I have a very simple model. It's called the ABC model. When I teach people on how to develop their strengths, I also use this. If you want to have like an assessment of the top 10 skills or the next set of 10 skills for the future, then you first assess, put a scale. Probably if you want to get a copy of the individual development plan that we're using, please let me know, reach to me. Build. So that's assess what's the gap, what are the gaps. Then build talks about how you would want to integrate lifelong learning. It could be like getting trainings, watching videos, taking free e-learnings, taking paid trainings and certifications, getting a mentor, joining relevant community groups or practice groups. What else? Attending conferences. So it's a world where so many information is available. But of course, you have to choose which will be valuable to your pathway, to whatever objective you have set for yourself. So that's build and then capitalize. So the only way that you can capitalize, the only way that you can maximize and capitalize is when you have built the relevant skills, the relevant strengths that you have or you might want to have, okay, within you, okay, for your future, for your success. So capitalizing meaning building an enterprise around it, or maybe applying for a job with a better pay or compensation, or probably integrating things into the regular things that you're doing and augmenting the things that you're getting, like value of some sort, whatever sort that may be. So that's just the typical way on how you to build it on top of the best practices. In the book that I've mentioned, there's a lot of other things that you could read upon, like typical questions and like other tips and techniques. So if you want, you can actually get a copy for yourself. If you want to cite this model, this is the citation. One thing that I've learned, of course, in taking my PhD at Mapua. And so if you want to take a screenshot, you're free to do so. If you want to learn more about this, you can message me personally. All right, so by preparing for the future, there's a lot of resources. I mentioned about big technology companies providing now free, learnings. There's Google, there's Coursera, there's Udemy, there's LinkedIn Learning, and of course, there's Aslike's PH Academy Digital, wherein you can take the courses. We now have more than 100 free courses that are available, and the library keeps on growing, and we're gonna, of course, have like an increase of courses by starting next year. We're getting up to more and more activities to put more courses and titles in our e-learning library. Okay? So what are my reflections by far about the top 10 skills of the future and how to build them? So professionals need to unskill, reskill, or upskill to stay relevant. Lifelong learning must be instilled by every student and professional. You can follow the ABC model for lifelong learning when you're pursuing lifelong learning. And always seek to be #significantly better. Okay, with that, I am now done with my 1.5 hour-ish talk, and I'm now open to any questions that you might have. Thank you po.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Lex, for that presentation. So, guys, sorry, on YouTube. So, ayun guys, if you have any question, you can type it on our chat box here or on YouTube.
Thank you rin po. Thank you po. And so, do we have questions since we go overboard by about 30 minutes? Because if none, I'll be shifting to the maraming salamat din po for everyone who have joined. We're a small group, but I hope you still enjoy the talk. And so without questions, I guess Alay, would you want to take over for the promotions? I'm gonna do the clicking of the slides.
Sir. All right. Thank you so much, Sir Lex, again for that very wonderful talk. So, okay. So tonight's event is made possible with the help of our supportive and generous partners, CIE Review Center, Blessed, To Us, the first Filipino cloud-based analytics platform, and Startup Podcast PH. So follow us on all our social media accounts at AskLexPH Academy to keep you updated on all other announcements and other free webinars like Alpha TV. And of course, another way you can effectively learn and become #significantly better with us is by enrolling now on all our online courses and self-paced program. So we have here the Yellow Belt, self-paced version, project management, and then Green Belt certification program, and then the self-paced version, Black Belt certification program. And this is the summary of all the self-paced certification program we have, and a bunch of free courses you may access on our LMS now at aslexph.com/courses. So, of course, you can visit us at assetph.com/courses and join us as a group of 5 and pay only for any courses you want. So, ayan. And of course, we have our newest partner, which is Bilis. So Bilis is a buy now, pay later app. You can use that for any courses you want to purchase. So ayan, it has 25% down payment and up to 12 months low interest rate installments. So that's Bilis app. And next one is I just want to promote the Aklat. This is the biggest sale ever that Access PH is offering. So you can access our elite range of courses across various disciplines from Black Belt certification and to Lean Fundamental certification for the rate of 39,990. And then, of course, the Escuela Juan, we are thrilled to announce to everyone that Escuela Juan is still accepting courses, and we believe you can be an invaluable part of this exciting journey. So let me just paste the links where you can register or access the info session of Project Escuela Juan. And then the next one, of course,
Sorry, this is my study. So let me take over lang very quickly. So I encourage everyone, those who haven't participated, we're doing a study on lifelong learning here in the Philippines. This is actually, to be honest, this is part of my PhD dissertation, and at the same time, snippets of the result of this study will be presented during the second Philippine Lifelong Learning Conference. So if you answer this particular survey, you'll also have a chance to win access to our premium courses. Yan.
All right, let's support Sir Lex with that. And then, of course, we have the second Philippine Lifelong Learning Conference happening this December 2023 at City Garden Grand Hotel. So let me just paste links regarding this event here, the primer and all. So you can access the registration as well here. And then on YouTube as well, I'll paste it here.
So the good news here, sorry, I like to butt in, is whenever you join, you'll have a chance to win one of the 7,000 pesos that we'll be giving away, since Aslex Page Academy is also celebrating its 7th anniversary. So in the Filipino context, its 7th birthday is one of the milestone, like right in a Filipino's life. No, so we'll be giving away uh 7 counts of 7,000 pesos each. Yan. So if you join Sulong, okay,
And
and
also at
Eli,
Sulong, additional lang po, for Sulong, you can access, you can have additional free courses if you join the conference. So for the 50 participants, makaka-receive sila ng free project management fundamental certification if you join the Sulong conference. So, Sir Lex, someone said, can we have the link dun sa survey nyo for the PhD?
yeah, sharing the link now.
And then, of course, Aslex PH Academy is still looking for partners and ambassador. So if you're supporting our cause to promote lifelong learning, this is perfect for you. And yes, for the next one is the Alpha Alumni page. So you can join the ASEX page, Academy Alumni Network Facebook page by scanning the QR code here or by typing the name of the page. And here it is, the evaluation form. So ayan, pwede nyo na pong scan ang QR code or click the link here. Let me just paste it. Ayan, ito po yung evaluation form. And then on YouTube, let me just paste it also here. So I hope everyone can access because the link will close automatically after 30 minutes of this tonight's event. So for the instruction, refresh and wait. Second is complete the form correctly. Third is middle initial not name. Four, enter correct email address. And last one, e-certificate will be distributed in a week or two. So ayan, fill out the attendance form in the link. Only those with attendance details will be given an e-certificate. So I think that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much. I hope everyone can access the link for the evaluation form. And um, I think there's no other announcement. So let's continue to be hashtag significantly better through accessible and sustainable lifelong learning together. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sir Lex and everyone.
Thank you everyone. See you sa sulong. Bye.
Bye.